Today on Running to Him.
Does God sanction lying, or does he just permit it? Today's reading from the reading plan is in Genesis chapter 27, verses 1 through 29, and we'll concentrate on verses 20 through 24. Genesis 27, verses 20 through 24 says, Isaac said to his son, "How is it that you have so quickly forgotten, my son?" And he said, "Because the Lord your God caused it to happen to me." Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come to me that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not." So Jacob came close to Isaac his father, and he felt him, and he said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." And he did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him, and he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he said, "I am." A unique characteristic of the Bible is that it does not shy away from presenting its heroes in a sense of a negative light. This characteristic is what makes the Bible believable. To my knowledge, all of the modern major religions, only Judaism and Christianity allow for sin in their leaders. The obvious exception is Christ, who is sinless, and there is a reason for that, but I will leave that subject for a later time. Deception always brings unexpected pain to the deceiver. In Rebekah's case, she lost the son she was wanting to keep, as she died prior to Jacob's return from exile. Jacob was deceived by Laban multiple times, and his sons deceived him when they presented Joseph as dead. The pain of deception may outweigh the supposed positive that it brings. Now, the elephant in the room, so to speak, is the question of God's role in the affair. Rebekah knows that God has promised that Jacob would rule over Esau, Genesis 25:23. But she obviously doubts that it will happen on Isaac's age and health, and so Isaac actually lives 20 years after this story happens, Genesis 35:27 through 29. Did God bless the deception, or did he just allow it to occur one way to fulfill his promise? Or did God just look into the future and pronounce to Rebekah that which was going to happen? Now, each of the above positions has its own problems to overcome. If God conceived the deception through his design, he cannot be righteous and therefore cannot be God. If, as some suggest, God has a perfect will and a permissive will, in the perfect will, the event proceeds as God originally planned it, and the permissive will, he says something along the lines of, "Well, I wouldn't have done it that way, but it all worked out." God could not become God because he does not control history and therefore is not omnipotent. And if he looks down the road of history and just accepts what happens, he becomes a deistic God, one who just winds up the clock and lets it run on its own. No answer will be completely satisfactory because we're fallen beings with a limited capacity to understand God's workings. The term that is commonly used in this sense is the phrase, "God's works are ineffable," meaning we cannot understand and put words or thoughts into the depth of God. But there is a solution, however flawed it may seem. God sometimes directly acts in history, as in the birth of Christ, various miracles, and directly steering a person to a particular location, as in Paul's going to Europe to evangelize, Acts 16:6 and following. If you hold that life is created at the joining of the egg and the sperm, a consistent view of Scriptures, see Isaiah 44:2, 49:5, and Jeremiah 1:5, you must hold that God knows you prior to your creation. He knows everything you will do during your life. Therefore, history is both known and in the future. Now, I prefer to think of the solution as this. God is the author of history, and as such, he sometimes exercises complete control. Other times, he allows us to choose. Either way, he is not fooled, nor does he exercise complete control over man's actions. God allows fallen mankind to act like fallen mankind.
Thank you for listening. We pray that today's devotion was meaningful to you. We would love to hear from you. You can use either Facebook or YouTube to like, subscribe, share, and tell others about us. If you would like to contact us, you can reach me at phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.